So, for a lifelong Celtics fan who said this in 2019 when the Celtics had Kyrie on the roster,
let me start off by saying this. Let me give my opinions on the two. Relative to who's going to be the superstar, who's going to be the all-star, who's nicer than who. Listen, if you watch basketball, if you know basketball, and you're sleeping on my nigga Jaylen Brown, stop watching basketball, or at least stop talking about it with niggas. They have similar ceilings. This is how I'm tired of motherfuckers talking about Jayson Tatum is levels above Jaylen Brown. If we could put Juice's aggressiveness into Jayson Tatum, I think Jayson Tatum would be that nigga. If we could combine these two, by your powers combined. If you could put Jayson Tatum's polished offensive game into Jaylen Brown, oh my lord. Kawhi Leonard, nigga, his ceiling's past that. Jayson Tatum in this scenario would be Vince Carter. Jaylen Brown, of course, Tracy McGrady, the late bloomer, the one they didn't think would make it, who ended up becoming a fucking superstar in his own right. I need y'all to understand. Jayson Tatum is going to put on more of a workload. Jayson Tatum is going to take it upon himself to try to become a superstar because we've already placed him on the mantle. Jaylen Brown is going to take it upon himself to try to become a superstar because you motherfuckers said he couldn't do it.
Who said this in 2020?
Johnny, hey. What up? By George, I think he's got it. Lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, I hit the fucking nail on the head. Uh-oh. What I predicted has now come true. 4 years later, Jaylen Brown now has handle. Jaylen Brown now can shoot off the dribble. Jaylen Brown can now run the pick and roll. Jaylen Brown can be double teamed and make the right play out of the double team. Jaylen Brown can facilitate. Jaylen Brown can take over a game offensively. They're both growing. We can't say who's better. We can't say Jayson Tatum is the face of this franchise and Jaylen Brown will always be 1B, 2B, whatever the fuck we trying to put him as. We can't say that. They still growing. We got a raw athlete who's made major leaps offensively versus a guy who came in polished already offensively, who's made leaps defensively, who's honed his game. So with that equation in mind, when you got a raw athlete who keeps growing offensively and even defensively into one of the best two-way players in the league, and then you got light skin who's already one of the best players in the league offensively and becoming one of the better defenders in the league defensively, so he's now one of the best two-way players in the league. The equation you get out of that is a same ceiling.
Who said this in 2021?
Brad Stevens. Bradford Stevens. Boy wonder. Boy genius. Golly gee willikers. Brad Stevens has to be, at this point in time, this year, the most overrated, overprotected coach in the league, and it's starting to be just as clear as Bill Belichick's ineptitude without Tom Brady.
So by now, I'm pretty sure everyone's heard about Marcus Smart calling Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown the Jays ball hogs. Was he right? Well, partially. Right for not singling out one guy for the purpose of team chemistry, of course. Because I see a lot of people starting to hop on the train of Jaylen Brown being the Celtics' best player. Welcome aboard. I started my YouTube channel before either one of the Jays even scored 20 a game. And there's video evidence of me being pro Jaylen Brown ever since. This year, Jaylen Brown is scoring 27 a game on 50% shooting and 40% from the three-point line, making 10 out of 20 shots and barely touching the ball in the fourth quarter or overtime. Jayson Tatum, on the other hand, 26 a game on 40% shooting, 27% from three-point line, making 8 of 25 attempts a game, the most in the league. In the top of the league in ISOs again, while in the bottom of the league in success rate. Oh yeah, Marcus Smart was talking about a J. Jayson Tatum.
I got corona, diarrhea, eating mostly liquids, spitting mucus in bottles, Gatorades, waters around the clock, and yet, and still, nothing made me sicker yesterday to one, not only watch my Celtics lose another winnable game, but to see boy wonder, Brad Stevens, the nigga who I made a video about last month when the Celtics first went under 500. And what did I say in that video? I said, should we fire Brad Stevens? I don't know. We'll see how the season goes along. And motherfucker, the season has been going along, and you know what? It's time to get rid of that bitch.
It's time to get rid of that bitch.
I don't got time for this shit. I'm not in the mood for it.
This in 2022.
Jaylen Brown can take over a game offensively. He has no weaknesses in this game.
Jaylen Brown is going to take it upon himself to try to become a superstar because you motherfuckers said he couldn't do it.
People got bananas. Like, did anyone?
I just think you guys
How dare
underrate
Jeff
it.
Goodman suggest it?
For you to say some asinine shit, or rather to agree with some asinine shit from the bitch sucker motherfucker Jeff Goodman.
Even for the outrage is it just completely ignores the strides Brown has made this year.
Jaylen Brown is your most efficient and consistent player, and has been. Haters, they're gonna hate. Eat a Jeff Goodman, and players, they're gonna play.
Who's gonna be the superstar? Who's gonna be the all-star? Who's nicer than who?
That Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum are, if not comparable, are both stars in their own right.
Listen, if you watch basketball, if you know basketball, and you're sleeping on my Jaylen Brown,
Tatum's not up there. Tatum's not down there.
stop watching basketball, or at least stop talking about it with, because you sound like a twit.
Tatum's not up there. And Tatum's not down there. Season-ending fucking wrist surgery. Of all things. Any fucking day of the week you go, man, Jaylen Brown is unequivocal, unparalleled, unquestionably the leader and the face of the Boston Celtics. My 17-time world championship Boston Celtics.
Faith, consistency, hard work, pays off.
Dennis played great.
My nigga Jaylen Brown.
He played great.
You know.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the content, Mr. Viewer. What the fuck is the subscribe button? This in 2023.
As a lifelong Celtics fan born and raised in Boston, the respective narrative attached to Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown irk me. Because even as I weigh the balance of advanced stats, eye test, raw stats, and especially, most importantly for me, mentality when evaluating players, since the beginning of their careers, I've always been pro Jaylen Brown. Because on the first night of Jayson Tatum's rookie year, when Gordon Hayward got hurt and Marcus Morris was supposed to start at power forward but didn't because of conditioning, and Kyrie barely showed up on his first night back in Cleveland to play LeBron, Jaylen Brown, who was better than all the rest of the guys ahead of him the previous year, his rookie year, but was benched for every single mistake by Brad Stevens. Well, as a starter that first night, his first time starting in meaningful minutes, Jaylen Brown had a game-high 25 for the Celtics in a loss. However, it was then that he showed me his mental toughness and competitive spirit. Speaking of which, he showed it again later in the year, that first Eastern Conference Finals run with Jayson Tatum against the Bucks. First round, game 4, on the Bucks home floor. Again, with everybody barely showing up, Jaylen was the player that night that is pretty much the player you see today on a consistent basis. Now, while he plays along with the he became great out of nowhere narrative, mostly from the media, he always made sure to make the point that his growth has largely come with opportunity. And that should have been very evident in that first Eastern Conference Finals run when Jayson Tatum put up 18.5 a game and Jaylen put up 18 a game. And that was with one less game played. Side note, in 24 games played in their career, Jaylen Brown without Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown has averaged 27, 7, and 3. Those averages only increased without Jayson Tatum since they both became focal points. So that he's only successful because of Jayson Tatum's gravity narrative has to die. But back to that first Eastern Conference Finals run. Sadly, the only narrative that came out of that, besides he's only 19, even though Jaylen Brown was like 20 going on 21, and a narrative getting debunked every day Jaylen Brown's play forces you idiots not to dismiss it, was that Jayson Tatum is the savior of the Celtics. That thought was only exacerbated by him playing with Kobe, or working out with Kobe that summer. The change in his style of play from an efficient spot-up three-point shooter and a guy who attacked the basket explosively off the first step his rookie year, to, from then till kinda now, an inefficient volume shooter who will always produce numbers because in addition to that volume, at 6'9" with more than a 7-foot wingspan, most of his shot output comes from behind the three-point line. Ladies and gentlemen, for doing it for GP, this is your Sports Minute. There's a conversation going on about all NBA player Jaylen Brown balling out in games and not receiving shots late. Me being pro Jaylen Brown since the jump, I noticed the start of the icing out last season, opening night against the Knicks. In previous seasons, Brad Stevens would put the ball in Tatum's hands and Brown had to eat around it, which is why he still efficiently takes his shots when he gets them. Ironically, those blaming him for his not taking shots late also call him a ball hog. Well, that double overtime game, Ime Udoka, who was head coach and stated that there were two pillars, put the ball in Jaylen's hands to the tune of 46-42 at the end of the third. He probably should have had 60, but Jayson Tatum, holding on to top dog status, from that point on went full on Carlton. Second in attempts, of course, Marcus Smart. Familiar. Now perseverate on this stat. In these playoffs, Jaylen Brown has made 7 more field goals than Jayson Tatum on 28 less field goal attempts. Till next time. Ladies and gentlemen, for doing it for GP, this is your Sports Minute. For 2 straight years, the Miami Heat have made both Tatum and Brown's handle look less than their norm, and Jaylen actually had surgery on his left wrist. But after he had the worst game of his career at the worst time, and after a compromised Tatum chose to play 40-plus minutes compromised, further limiting his team space and defense, the same people who lobbied all year for Jaylen Brown to get All-NBA to get the Supermax are all acting after one game that idea and him have always been trash. You cannot say that about Jayson Tatum. What clearly irks me is the guy that's touted as the better player, a position his fans will literally fight you for, gets held to much lower expectations for similar flaws. Most of their game is debatably preference. Neither are elite facilitators or ball handlers, but just as long as Jayson Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown in those areas, oh, he's the MVP and untradeable. Especially the Boston fans and media. Till next time.
This in 2024.
Jayson, 40 points for Jaylen tonight after his heroics in Game 1. What have you seen from him throughout the course of this postseason? How has his game evolved in your view?
I think, the game is just slowing down for him more and more.
We built this shit. You didn't do this shit by yourself.
Do you feel like you're overlooked, slighted?
I mean, I watch guys get praised and anointed. I feel like it's half as talented as me on either side of the ball. I get better every single year, and whether people appreciate it or not, it is what it is.
Here's what I mean by Jaylen Brown. Because outside of just the eye test, the numbers back it up as well. For instance, you take a look at Jayson Tatum's career scoring average in the playoffs, and then you take Jaylen Brown's scoring average in the playoffs in that very same time frame. Regular season, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, 23 points a game. Oh, but Jaylen Brown only produces that much because he has Jayson Tatum on the floor. Then, well, take a look at this. Jaylen Brown during the Jays era, without Jayson Tatum, he's scoring 28.3 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and oh look, he's still shooting 51% from the field in that time frame. Jayson Tatum, when he's by himself without Jaylen Brown, not bad numbers either. 26, we'll round up. 8, we'll round up. 4, we'll round up. And that will be on 47% shooting. So what I'm saying here is this. While the media keeps trying to push Jayson Tatum as one of the young guys and this is his team and he's carried it by himself, Jaylen Brown has just as much to do with the Celtics' success in the Jayson Tatum time frame as one Jayson Tatum. But of course, the media needs narratives. Who else that they're comparing Jayson Tatum to has a all-NBA multiple-time all-star that almost producing as much as them? Because they keep trying to benefit or help Tatum benefit from the narrative of the Celtics' success, but they're not mentioning Jaylen Brown. This isn't Stephen Clay. This isn't Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum. This isn't Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. This duo is more like Shaq and Kobe. It's just, I don't think anybody thought Jaylen Brown would be this good because I don't think they've been paying attention.
Jason Kidd is one funny
What makes going against a guy like Jaylen so challenging?
I swear to God. Why does it seem that Jason Kidd has always thought that his attempts to be devious or distract in con man type ways work? And now he tries to put up this little goody two-shoe, higher than thou, namaste, nam yo ho renge kyo. We remember what you did while you were playing us in the playoffs and what you were accused of, Jason Kidd.
This in 2025. All right, mother. Here we go.
All right, motherfucker. What is it? Here it goes. Here we go. Me and you. Me and you.
They got my man Jaylen Brown again, wiping his Beijing off on somebody he's getting busy on.
Bro.
You've been hit by a smooth criminal.
Hating ass Jayson Tatum stand Brian Scalabrine calling him out, of course.
Oh no. Jaylen Brown got another victim right there.
And look, as a Bostonian who's been pro Jaylen Brown over Tatum ever since the inception, when he wiped it off on the OG of the Knicks, I'm like, damn, they got my man. Embarrassed in New York. Didn't play well and left a f***ing stain. When it happened in Detroit, in the midst of an efficient 41-point game, taking a loss, but putting forth a hell of an effort to carry a G League roster to a win, I said, it. Calling card. Brown just blacked you. Yeah, I said it. So now, that it happens again in a game where he became the first Celtic ever and the 5th guy in NBA history to record a stat line of 35, 5, and 5 while shooting over 50% and in under 30 minutes. Well, he did it in 26, which I believe is the second fastest in history. So basically how I'm looking at it is I hope one of these gets spotted every game because that means my man is putting his head down and getting to work. Pause. And because the Eastern Conference is extremely weak and the Celtics have been up double digits in every tight game that they've lost, outside the Houston game where they got their asses waxed, Brown has a chance to black you on the way to Eastern Conference supremacy and a most valuable painted season to make Jayson Tatum stands sick. Not fans, Boston resident and media stands. I mean, yes, this year.
They clearly had an agenda. Jay about to win the second MVP with the same move.
He ain't lying.
You're choked. I thought it was insane to get up there and say Joel Embiid was flopping around and this is the league that we're in now instead of acknowledging that you choked.
That's some soft ass shit. Shut that soft ass shit up. All that soft talk.
Bark up a stream and started complaining and being the martyr. He has clearly lost the plot.
Fat ass nigga. Sloppy sucker. You an ugly motherfucker.
So, once again, the unofficial face of the league, the only guy with the balls to consistently call out league politics that play out in real time and spark conversation, Jaylen Brown has done so again. And once again, media, Celtic haters, Jayson Tatum stands, and apologists alike wish that he would be more Martin than Malcolm.
After watching this morning, it was like watching them at their worst against the Knicks in the postseason last year. It was the same suck philosophy and what makes them unwatchable at times, and they get in their own way. It's jack up threes and too much ISO with Tatum.
Hero ball. You're vastly superior than that other team. And you play this dumbass offense.
Yep.
That's triggered by Tatum.
I'm a lover. I'm not.
Oh, God.
Perhaps a change to one of their core pieces. And if it were me, I would consider making that change with Jayson Tatum because he has a lot of stink on him for this series, but primarily for his entire postseason resume. I don't understand how this guy avoids the criticism at this point.
Because I'm a punk. That's the answer, bro. Because I'm a punk. Because he's a punk.
So, by now, everybody knows the MO and the mechanics of the Boston Celtics every time they lose in the playoffs or underachieve. Being over-reliant on a 3. Live and die by. Once again, while the perpetrator of this style the least on the team gets scapegoated and put in trade rumors, the career-long perpetrator, the one billboarded as the best American player in the world, gets escaped by once again. And we'll talk about it right now on Doing It for GP. It's unfortunate that the Celtics chose the pussy. And we'll talk about it right now on Doing It for GP.
Why am I so real? They don't understand me. I really don't know the deal about a brother.
Welcome back to the channel. Your boy Mac back with some thoughts, with some opinions, with some reactions. Hit the like button if you choose. It's free and hopefully you stay a while. Shout out to the supporters. And with that said, let's take this walk.
That this Jaylen Brown Celtics saga is officially over. I got a few things I got to get off my chest. First off, fuck Brad Stevens. All you is a failed coach, and you a fraudulent ass GM. You're not even really supposed to be in the front office right now. You just got a good old boys network at the Celtics. You lied to us about Jaylen Brown. You've been disrespected him, and your pride and ego really allowed you to take back George Paul for one of the best players in the league. Fuck you.
Word to my mother. Word to my mother. Word to my mother.
Fuck Jayson Tatum. You really sabotaged Jaylen's best season ever last year by forcing your way back. Nobody needed you to return, and you end up hurting yourself in the playoffs, which was really the reason y'all lost 3-1. You really just a whack-ass duo partner. Like, you ain't never once spoke up to the fan Jaylen Brown. Not once. You went on First Take, but you won't hop on your boys' podcast. You had all these people talking crazy, and you never once wanted to say anything to clear it up. Jayson Tatum, you a light-skinned ass nigga. Fuck you.
One of the biggest reasons why Jaylen Brown got traded is because the Celtics think Jayson Tatum is something he's not. He is not on Luka's level. He is not on SGA's level. He is not on Jokic's level, Giannis's level. All of those guys, if you were to say, okay, you got to build your squad around them, and they are the main guy, and they are running your offense, stop it. You're not taking Tatum over any of those guys. And so now you're about to see what Tatum is like without Jaylen Brown. You've never seen that ever happen, bro. With Luka, he has shown he can carry squads. SGA, he has shown he can carry squads. Giannis, Jokic, Brown in his prime, Steph in his prime, they have shown they can carry squads. What has Jayson Tatum shown that he can carry a squad and he is coming off an Achilles tear? This makes no sense. But the thing is, y'all want Tatum to be this super duper star that he's not. There are levels of superstardom.
This is right. It can't get no righter.
Yeah, man, listen. My feelings about Jayson Tatum versus Jaylen Brown, their roles on the team and in the city, have always been the same since they both entered the league. Because I've already gave my opinions over the years, as you saw early in the clips, I won't rehash. I'll just sum them up. Tatum's a beta, Brown's an alpha. Tatum gets praised for what he does well and what he could have done well, and people really only mention his analytics when they look good. But moreover, the slight Jaylen Brown. Well, on the other hand, Jaylen Brown has always gotten the 1A type of scrutiny, even though y'all try to push him to number 2. Accomplishments tempered and explained away, usually to give credit to Tatum, and his mistakes and shortcomings are overanalyzed and overblown. Jaylen Brown, I mean. No other superstar in the league gets judged by deep analytics, by what's not clear to the eye on live watch, as much as Jayson Tatum. Again, because of Brown's proximity threat as a player that threatens Tatum's stands. Those same stands have largely dismissed the fatal flaws in Tatum's playstyle via facilitation and scoring for self that lead to hero ball threes in every situation, helping the Celtics be live by the 3, die by the 3 by result in all situations. Brad Stevens has always been a pussy. I mean, y'all remember the story where the team had a team meeting and locked Brad out the room, and Brad was left knocking on the door? Straight pussy shit. That's why he traded Smart to help Tatum grow some balls, right? And that's why he's trading Jaylen to force Tatum to grow some balls and be the franchise leader he and all of the soft-ass fans pray for him to be. And, they've been vicariously offended by everything Brown did, in their eyes, in spite of Tatum, for at least 7 of those 9 years together. So, yeah, man, the Celtics and the city chose the beta. The beta who melts down when the pressure is the most. I'm not talking about 7-game second round series where a motherfucker can be a bum and get carried for 6 of them and get hot for 1. They chose the motherfucker that does jack shit in the Boston community and is gonna leave for the Lakers the second he gets the chance to. All initiatives that can help the communities that need it in Boston, Jayson Tatum directs towards St. Louis. Cool, he's from there. But JB is from Georgia and fully ingratiated himself in the community. He's an adopted Bostonian. I said that. But I'm ending now, because I got plenty more specifics to talk about when it comes to JB and the bullshit narratives that have come out after he's been traded. But yeah, man. The Celtics should get ready for a season of injury, hero ball threes, and excuse making for self. Or maybe this season, Tatum gets that statue the nigga really said that out loud that he deserved, but got no pushback in Boston. What do I know? We got other videos to get to with this whole situation, but what do I know? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe if you like the content, hit the notification bell. And with that said, hopefully you've been entertained and informed while passing this precious time that we all have, and hopefully I've earned your sub. I go by the name of Mac. This has been Doing It for GP. Till next time.
I can't treat him like any of the other niggas around here, because he ain't like any of the other niggas around here.
Never did me, I spit the truth. Call you aware, fear-driven niggas get the boot. All of you squares couldn't fit up in my circle. All of us rare and will hurt you severe. Slow your roll, nigga, patience is a virtue. Yeah, and a nigga bite any bark. When I black out, how you gon' hide in the dark?
He played great.
My nigga Jaylen Brown.
He played great. You know